Welcome to another episode of the Billy Ho Show. Before we get started, I'd just like to go back to yesteryear. My mother would ask me to go around to the Four Square store, Mr Mayo's Four Square store in Rosebank Road in Avondale, and buy a loaf of bread. I actually buy half a loaf of bread because in those days you could get what was called a raised tin, and Mr Mayo would just go like that, and I think it cost 4p for half a loaf of bread, and you'd take it home. But on the way home, you'd sort of nibble at it. I've got a loaf of bread here, and I'll just show you what I was talking about. So you split it in half, and they give you half, but on the way home, you just sort of strip the bits, because you got there was a concave bit and an outcave bit, but you just sort of trim off bits like this on the way home. And so when you got it home, it was sort of concave, and Mum would cut off a piece of bread, and then she'd be ready to go. But she'd always say, "How come it looks like this?" And I said, "Well, when you open it, you know, I got the concave bit, but I didn't. I got the bit that stuck out like that, and eat bits of bread on the way home." But it's just something that I did, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did that as well back in the 1950s. Anyway, we're going to start with a Bristol freighter. When I was a boy, the old Bristol freighter was the transport plane around the country. They took cars, they took all sorts of things in the front of that. The whole thing just opened up and swallowed it all up, and they took off and flew it to places. They also took people. So it's interesting seeing this whole plane. You don't see them around all that much these days. There used to be a one in WWII that was a restaurant. I remember that one, and there was another one, Waitomo. There's one of these that's a place you can actually stay. So this is the third one that we've seen, but this one's down in Blenheim, and it's just a memorial. But you can see the big propellers, and it was a big aeroplane in its time. I mean, the doors on the front of this are absolutely huge. It's a very, very big aeroplane. But we just happened to be passing by, so I thought I'd show everybody what the old Bristol freighter looked like from yesterday. It's not going anywhere these days, of course, and nor will it ever will again, but Bristol freighter. There she is. What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. Christmas is coming up. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text, or email me, billhohepper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. The second Wheels at Wanaka event is on this coming Easter in 2021, and that's on Saturday and Sunday the 3rd and 4th of April. They're planning a bigger and brighter event with more vehicles and machines working as well as on display. Cars, trucks, tractors, traction engines, scrapers, dozers, graders, the lot. If it's got wheels, it'll be represented at this amazing event. They're having an earth moving only day on Good Friday the 2nd of April, and there's a $10 entry for this. So go to the webpage www.wheelsatwanaka.co.nz for more information. We'll be there filming the event, so we look forward to seeing you there. Well, the old Bristol freighter. When I was at school, the people who were in the Air Corps, they took them for a ride in one of those, which is a bit of a highlight when you're at school. Next up, I'm going to the Solomon Islands, and I'm going up there to look at the war material that was left over after the war. So let's go and have a look at the Solomon Islands. Well, I'm at Munda Airport, which is in the Solomon Islands, and this is the Munda runway. And the Americans built this for their bombers during World War II. And it's long enough for jumbo jets. Goes a long way that way, back this way. The airport terminal is over there. And our plane just landed, so I thought I'd just pop out here just to show you this airport. And when the planes aren't here, it's just another piece of the island really. People just come and go and ride their bikes, and I'm sure the kids have a lot of fun on it. And people live right around this place, but where we're going is a place called Sapolu Habu on Lola Island, which is a bit of a resort, so that's where we're going to be staying. But while we're here, we're going to have a look at some of the World War II machinery that's still in the jungle here, just where it stopped all that time ago. The friendly islands, they call them, and you certainly get a smile out of everybody you pass as you wander around this place. But yeah, Munda, great place. Well, our plane's on its way back to Honiara, but to get here you just need to go to Brisbane, catch an Air Solomons flight to Honiara, and then catch a domestic flight on this Twin Otter out here to Munda. We left New Zealand at 7 AM and got up here around about 2. Solomon Islands is only half an hour behind us, time-wise. It's only a short walk to the wharf area at Munda, and we arrived on a Friday, which is market day. The locals sell their fruit and vegetables, fish and other stuff, and people from the surrounding islands come to the market as well, and everybody gets around in these colourful little longboats. And because they're so long, they can fit a lot of people on them. I don't know how that would go in New Zealand, but that's what they do up here. As I said, the place we're going to stay at is called Sapolu Habu, and it's on Lola Island and part of the northwestern province of the Solomons. It's a peaceful place and it's well known for the fishing. Joe Entrican and his wife Lisa run this resort. Joe said that in the morning he's got everything teed up so I can go and have a look at what we've come here to see. I think this place is absolutely outstanding. And don't take my word for it. With me is Steve and Julie, and just, do you enjoy your stay here?
We've loved our stay here, haven't we? It's been something special actually, something we've never quite experienced before.
Yeah, it's like being right in the Solomon Islands, right part of the islands. Mm.
It's like going back to about 1960.
It is, it is. Yeah, its remoteness, I think it's definitely exceeded our expectations. I'd never before been beyond Honiara, so to get up into this part of the Solomons is certainly something special and something quite completely different.
And the roads of the sea. I mean,
the roads of the sea.
And definitely the transport for the local people.
Yeah.
You can just, sit back and watch the life that it's always been. And it hasn't changed, the long boats and families going and fishermen, and it's amazing. You can spend a lot of time proud.
What I find that's interesting is this canoes rowing along with this, local in it, and all of a sudden out comes the cell phone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so it's gone from sort of, the turn of the century to 2015,
that's
then
right.
back to turn of the century again.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of the modern mix with the old, but it's mostly the old.
Sure.
It's certainly unspoiled. I think a real experience too, to sort of experience the way the local people live their lives. Just watching the workmen coming from the far side of the lagoon, which is probably an hour's paddle every morning, arriving at 7 AM to work on the island, and then at 5 PM to get in their little wee dugout canoes and just paddle back another hour back across to their villages just as the sun's starting to set. Is really something different.
Spectacular sunsets, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this to your friends?
Absolutely. I mean to say, we'll be one of their best advertisements when we get back. I think the World War II history that's attached, and seeing some tanks and snorkeling across a sunken Tomcat aircraft that's as clear as anything, that's pretty well looks like it was when it actually was ditched all those years ago, and just sunk to the bottom of the sea. Yeah, just something different. You don't see that anywhere really.
No, you don't. No. What we're going to do, folks, is I've heard there's a bit of war wreckage around the islands, and they're on a few islands, so we're just going to pop off a young Norman here and see what we can find. Sit. This is the popular boat in the islands. It's just a long fiberglass boat, and everybody and his dog's got one of these. And if they haven't got one of these, they've got a canoe. Just straight down there. Kick her in the guts, and away we go. So what we're going to do, folks, is is it Japanese or American?
It's American.
American. Oh, okay, we're going to have a look at that. Yes.
Somewhat kurang saya pulau Pak.
Oh, sudah
Walk up and end up. Okay, we're gonna walk.
Okay, walk with him.
Yeah.
And there it is. It's the remains of a Bell P-39 Cobra. Looking at it, there's something odd. When people look at a plane, the engine's usually out the front with a propeller on the front of it. But looking at this plane's engine, the exhaust pipes are facing the wrong way for that to be the case. Very odd. So there it is, and the front of the plane was out that way, and thinking logically, the engine is actually behind the pilot. Looking at it, it's a V12, 6 pots each side. Looking into this cockpit, there's actually a drive shaft running along the bottom. So that drive shaft comes from the engine, under the pilot, out to the front and spins the propeller. Amazing. My friend Ewan Stevenson, who's involved in helping the American government find wreckage like this in the Solomons, gave me this photograph of a P-39 taking off. And sure enough, the engine is behind the pilot. Apparently it's one of the first planes to have what's known as the tricycle landing gear. A lot of planes of this era had the little wheel down the back of the plane. Norman was just saying the pilot jumped out with his parachute, got hung up in a tree, and the locals found him and looked after him, so he survived the war. But if you come down here, and he was saying the tail's down in the swamp down there, so obviously the plane's broken in half, and yeah, amazing. Oh well, that's a good story. Next we're off to see an old American tank, which has been sitting in the jungle for the last 70 years odd. This tank sits up this bit of a driveway here. Not sure what it is, but I'm told it's a Stuart tank. So let's go and have a look. So here's a testament to American steel. This is a Stuart tank, which is the smallest tank that they made in America. And obviously it suited the purpose here in the jungle. But even so, it's pretty thick, and all the trees all around. You'd have to have the D7s and the D8s in before and to make some sort of a track. We've got an engine in the back there. It's an interesting looking engine. Don't know if I can see it. It's got cooling fans. But you might remember the cars, the armoured cars we saw in Australia. And this is probably twice as big as the smallest one. But it's just interesting how it's 70 years later, sure it's rusty, but it's not that bad. In the back there's the engine, little doors to get at it. And the pots have got fins on them, which means they're air cooled, I guess. Oh dear, there's the way in. And if I got a job driving this tank, I don't think I'd be able to have it, because I wouldn't be able to get down there. Let alone Captain Asparagus, he'd never get down there either. But dry shafts, it's a big fan there inside that engine compartment. I'm not quite sure what size the gun is, but here we are on Solomon Islands. The machine gun's still there on the side. The compartment for the driver. Who would volunteer to be a driver in one of these? Get down in there. Hot as hell. I see there's a little machine gun beside the big gun as well, so she's well equipped with guns. And you'll note that tracks have got rubber on them, and I guess that's so they could go along the tar seal without causing too much trouble. So here in the Solomon Islands, in the middle of the jungle, a leftover Stuart tank. In the middle of the jungle, in a clearing on the top of a hill, are these anti-aircraft guns. They're Japanese. Looks like there were 3 of them here, one in the middle here with a bit of concrete, and the other one over there. But with the heat I mean, it's very hot. Here we're only 8 degrees south of the equator, so it is hot. And you can imagine spending a day on this going coo, 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 coo. And these are bullet holes, obviously shot from aeroplanes at these things. Didn't stop them from working by the look of it. And there's a concrete pad down there past the spider. There may or may not have been one mounted there and then the one on the other side.
These two here shot down lots of American planes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you hard to find. Yeah. Shot down lots of American planes. Wow. This is the Japanese part of the island where they had, and this is a Japanese truck of some sort. And there's the block, and the chassis runs out that to a couple of wheels down the back there. Wow. Well, there you go. Plane, a tank, an old truck, all leftovers from 70 years ago. And it's just amazing how, you know, they're there and they haven't disappeared with the rust. And being the islands like this, there's lots of sea, and salt and sea air don't go together. Salt and metal don't go together. But anyway, very interesting. Well, I found that really interesting. And did I catch a fish? Well, yes, I did. Have a look at this.
Cheers, smileys. Use your other hand to pull the fin up. There you go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
Yep. The event is called Horsepower, New Zealand's biggest display of classic trucks and other machinery, on at Levels Raceway, Timaru, on the 3rd and 4th of October. We'll be there filming, so we'll see you there. Next up is my mate Jeff, and he's got a traxcavator. So let's go and talk to Jeff. In this little section we're going to talk about this traxcavator, and with me is Jeff, and welcome to our little show, Jeff.
How you doing there, Bill? How you
I'm doing very, very well. Now this is something you don't see every day. I guess this must be the first of the trucking loaders, or pick up the load of gravel or whatever, up she goes into the truck. Is that what it does?
Yep, that's exactly what it does, yep.
Now perhaps you can just tell me a little bit about that frame that's on the
yeah.
truck.
Well, she's just got a double drum winch up here.
Yep.
And that double drum winch is run off this pulley at the front here. Goes down to the front pulley.
Yep.
Just 3 V-belts on it. Runs the winch. Very simple setup. Just lifts the bucket up and down. You've got to trip the bucket.
Is this a Kiwi invention?
No, it's an American thing.
Oh, okay.
Made by Traxxon.
Yep.
And then they used to get Caterpillar loaders and put them on the Caterpillars. They made them in like D2s.
Oh, okay. So this is a frame you can buy for whatever tractor you've got.
Yeah.
More or less.
And there's a few adjustments, like longer track frames and a few other bits and pieces here.
Sure. Can we see it go? Lift up something?
Yeah.
Well, just before we do that,
Yeah.
you know, when you sort of pull the truck up,
Yep.
and you know, got all this in front of you, how you didn't damage the trucks at all, did you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'd wreck the sides of the truck because when you're operating, you can't sort of see too much when you're looking through there.
No.
Yeah, so you'd wreck the sides of the truck.
You know you're there because it goes thump.
Yeah.
Oops,
and
you
you sort of got to load the truck from either side.
Oh, okay.
So you get half a load on one side, and then ideally turn the truck around, because these aren't too good at turning around and they drop the tracks off them.
Fair enough. Oh, well, can we kick her in the guts?
Yeah, no, we can get it going for you.
This your boy, is it, or grandson?
Oh, it's a wee grandson here, Wade. Yep.
Hello, what's your name?
Wade.
Wade. Yeah, that's an interesting name. Now what we're going to do, folks, is we'll get the old Caterpillar started up. We'll watch that go up and do its thing. And is she...
These are good, they're quite noisy, they make a bit of noise, these.
Oh,
got a wee petrol motor that you've got to start up first.
Yep.
And there's a clutch system over here.
So you got your string around on the inside of the cab there. Oh, yep.
Yep, this is, you just start this wee motor first. So with a bit of luck she'll go.
So a little jockey engine.
Yep. Yeah. You want me to take it for a wee drive?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, just
Pull out.
yeah, that's right. We'll just follow you around. Up she goes.
I'm going to flip it up and then...
Yeah. So you have to put it on the ground to reset it?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. A man came up to me while you were rolling up and down there and said your tracks were on back to front.
Yeah, no, they're not actually. There's the odd person that says that, but the reason that they're around like that is when you, especially if you're working in a gravel pit,
Yep.
and you go in and you pick up a bucket full
Yep.
and lift it up, it sort of wants to stand up on the front idlers, and so they're put on like that so you can back out without getting stuck.
You got some grip.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can, mainly for backing out when you've got a full bucket full on.
Oh, there you
Because
go.
it stands up on its front idlers
Okay.
when that bucket's full.
And what was before this? What did they load trucks before this? Shovels?
Shovels?
Really?
Yep.
So this is the new shovel?
Yep.
Everybody would have gone, woohoo!
Yep.
Shovel days, biff!
And 47, when you had one of these, you were that was it. You were saving yourself a lot of work.
Yeah, I guess, and if you're hiring it out, you'll probably have endless work as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there would have been. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, back when my father had it back in the day,
Yeah.
he had a lot of work for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
did a lot of work. Yeah.
It's an unusual thing, I have to say. I mean, we've been around this country a few times, and it's the first time I've ever seen this. So, you know, but I guess back in its time it was...
Yeah,
it was
no,
quite common.
it's an unusual. There's not that many of them around.
No.
Yep. No, there's not too many of them around. There's a few D4 ones floating around, but there's not too many D2 ones.
Wow. Oh well, congratulations. Keeping history alive. Yeah, you've done
Yeah,
well. So there
yeah.
you go, folks. Look, it's the old original Beat the Shovel track excavator. Awesome. Finally, let's join our old mate, the Goose Rooter from Geraldine.
Hey, how's it going? It's the old Goose Rooter here from Geraldine. So I've kind of made it to the end with the old Fordson, so it's now just a bit of testing and fine tuning. But it reminds me of that song, One Piece at a Time by Johnny Cash. It's just getting those pieces together, sitting them there, thinking, and then slowly putting it together, one piece at a time. Right, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And if we do it this way, it's going to be better than that way. So it has been a wee bit of a process getting there, literally one piece at a time. But we've made it, so we're going to take it for a bit of a jaunt up the road. Well, to be fair, I would have to call it a successful road test. Still needs, a few more bits and pieces done, but it's drivable. So in the last couple of months, it's got from what you've seen as, one piece at a time to, actually getting down the road. So while I'm still, maintaining lots of vehicles for different people and looking after them, I've got projects lined up. So the next big project is finding an engine for that one. So if anyone knows where there's a decent, suitable engine with a, lot of noise, a lot of black smoke, preferably with an Ellison Auto up its arse or something like that, that's going to be the next racing one. And then after that, well, I got a racing lawnmower as well, John Deere ride-on lawnmower that, just needs a bit of TLC. So thanks for tuning in. There's been a bit of a, good build. Not much point complaining because, who am I going to complain to? The designer. So it's like I talk to myself anyway, and I still don't listen to myself. So I might as well just keep my mouth shut. But anyway, cheers, Robbie, over and out. Whee!
Well, that's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all again next week.